If you're in the market for a large Android 11 tablet with a lot of power, then there is really only this option right here, which is Lenovo's YogaPad Pro, a 13-inch Android 11 tablet powered by the Snapdragon 870. It has 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of UFS 3.0 storage, and this little stand on the back of it here. So you can see you can use that to prop it up at all sorts of different angles. You can also use it to sit it up like this. And this also does support the Precision 2 stylus. And so far in my time using it, this is definitely the best large tablet that you can get if, of course, you want an Android tablet. So along with the tablet, you'll find a Type-C to Type-C cable, our charger. This is a 30-watt charger, and it does take approximately 2 hours and 40 minutes to fully charge the 10,200 milliamp hour battery. And Banggood does include here an EU adapter for any EU customers. Now the build quality, so an unusual design here with this one. We've got plastic backing material here. There is this round part which does have 2 speakers which are 5 watts inside it, and I'll give you a sample of them later on in this in-depth review. And then we have our handle stand really for this. So you can use it to prop it up the other way, you can lift it and push it right up and around, and that way you can use it then as a handle. You could hook it over something if you wanted to do so. Now this hinge is very, very stiff. It's made out of metal. This part here is rubber, and we've got plastic and then a felt type material. Well, it's like a suede material they've gone with on the back. Now, I don't mind this too much. You can see the Yoga branding. However, I notice it does pick up a lot of particles of dust and things that will show up because of the black color. Now, this is just painted on the Lenovo here. It's not a metal tab. On the left here, we've got something really interesting, and that is HDMI input. So yes, you can use this as a secondary monitor, which is really good to see. I wish more manufacturers would do this. So you can connect up a Nintendo Switch, your PC, laptop, PS5, Xbox, you get the idea. So we've got a microphone here. So this is plastic, the frame around the outside. Thickness right here is 2.5 centimeters. The tablet is pretty hefty. It does weigh 900 grams, well, just under. It's about 897 grams according to my scales, so a little bit heavy there. And then on the right side, we've got our Type-C for charging. Now this supports USB 3.1, so quick transfer speeds to the 256 gigabytes of storage within this model here, and it does support video out. So power on, volume up and down, and these buttons are made out of, I think they could be metal, but probably actually plastic there, other microphone. So thickness-wise, here isn't too bad, but it is a little bit chunky, but we do have those 2 speakers inside there, and of course that handle stand, so that's why it has this unique design to it. And along the bottom here, which kind of fires out a little bit to the front, but more bounces off the table when you do stand it up, is the speaker grill here. So putting my ear up to it, I can hear sound coming out from here and here with those 5-watt speakers, but nothing in the middle here. I just think that's a chamber to help get a little bit of bass out of those speakers. And finally, along the top, the 2 2-watt speakers. I'll give you a sample of all 4 of those speakers now, what they sound like. And just before I do, those there are just some microphones on the top. Now with the front of the tablet here, we've got up the top here, 8 megapixel front-facing camera. There is a time of flight there, and it does support face unlocking, which I do find works well. So what is missing is a side fingerprint reader, which I would have liked. They could have put it maybe up here. I just think it would have been a little bit faster than putting in a password. And they do not have micro SD card support or LTE support. So no SIM card support on this, no 5G. So those are really the 2 things that are missing for me, the expandable storage. But great having the display input, and also great having, of course, the Type-C out with video out from it. And the screen here, so this one's 13 inches, very large for a tablet. And normally I'm reviewing the largest, it's normally about 12.6. And this one has a resolution of 2160 by 1350, so 16 by 10 aspect ratio. The screen looks sharp. Now the maximum brightness that I'm able to achieve and get out of this display is just over 400 nits. Officially they say 400 nits, but I'm getting around 418 nits, which is okay indoors. It's fully laminated, covered with glass. Now I don't know if it is Gorilla Glass that they are using with this one. Now overall, the brightness indoor use is perfectly fine, but outdoors you will struggle a little bit here. Now this is where the gamma, you can see it should actually be about 2.2, and it's pretty close to that. And that's the brightness down there at the lower setting, which I accidentally triggered right there. Now the touch response from this screen is good. It's a little bit sensitive. And overall, I don't think it's a bad panel. Now the bezels top and bottom, just get out of this if I can trigger the gesture back. There we go. Bezels, top and bottom, okay, they are a little thick now for 2021, but the left and right ones aren't too bad at all. All up, I think it is a good screen, and most people should be very pleased with it. For definitely for looking at media content, I find that this is a great screen for that, like something like Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, which it does support, and it does support having them in HD as well. So we've got Widevine Level 1 cert, which I'll get onto soon about that. And I just also wanted to point out that here we're running ZUI, which is based on Android 11 for the UI with this one. And again, I mean, the performance has been good, multitasking, and the gesture support with the touch, good, not a problem. 8 gigabytes of RAM with the Snapdragon 870, and it has been bug-free. But a couple of times I wouldn't say 100% bug-free, I have been in the settings menu and just changed something, and it's completely crashed the settings, and I bounced back out of there. So we've got a lot of different things you can tweak in here. We can schedule it to power on and off. We have for the display too some other options I wanted to point out. So you can change the color mode. This is great, your white balance. I really love to see this, and most manufacturers do this, but there are a few that are a little bit slack and don't actually include those options. Eye protection, dark mode can be scheduled. Adaptive brightness, I've got it turned off at the moment because, well, I'm recording the screen and trying to show it as best as possible that I can here. But the ambient sensor is right up here. It's next to the time of flight and that 8 megapixel camera with this one. So various different things can be tweaked, and it is the global ROM that Banggood flash onto this one. So that's another reason why I ended up buying it from them. So there are updates that come through. They have a system update and their own over-there update system. And this is the latest version. So I did get one update, which is minor bug fixes. I don't know actually what it fixed, but I haven't had any problems with that. One other thing to point out too, though, however, is this, that when I try to get onto my Wi-Fi 6 network, it's only picking up Wi-Fi 5, not the 6, which is the latest, the fastest, Wi-Fi AX. So wireless AX, it doesn't seem to want to connect up to my router or detect it for some weird reason, even though that, yes, this model does support Wi-Fi AX, Wi-Fi 6. Android Bench, now this is just to show the internal storage speed. So we have 256 gigabytes of UFS 3.0 storage, very good speed. So getting almost 1400 megabytes per second, sequential reads, sequential writes almost 700, randoms well over 200, so very quick storage, and this is not going to bottleneck it. So we do have the 8 gigabytes of RAM, as I've mentioned, and that really does help to aid in the performance of this particular tablet. It's very, very quick. One of the fastest that I have reviewed. So when you first get this Yoga Pad here, you will have basically no bloatware, and not really, to me, is any of this stuff kind of bloat. Most of it is useful. Now, there are Microsoft apps on there that some may consider as bloatware, like Office and whatnot, but they're still useful. So no real junk apps, no games or anything is installed. Now, free available space, you are looking at approximately here 244 or so gigabytes free, because 242, sorry, that you're going to have with this. Okay, remember, no expandable storage, unfortunately, with this particular model here. Now, battery life is excellent. It is really, really good. Now, I was able to achieve almost 13 hours. This is at the display calibrated to 200 nits, okay? And it just runs and runs until it gets to 20%. So I could have gone on for at least about 13 and a half, maybe even 14 hours of runtime just watching video with this, which is really, really good, thanks to the 10,200 milliamp hour battery. As mentioned, charge time is about 2 hours and 40 minutes with this. Widevine Level 1 cert, and it does support Amazon Prime Video at full HD resolution, which I'll get onto soon. And here is our Antutu score. Now, I apologize for some of the video quality of this particular video here, because the screen's at an angle. It's very hard for me to get the whole screen in focus and sharp here with my lenses. But there we go, almost 700,000 points here, Antutu. This thing's an absolute monster, and it's just as good as the Snapdragon 888. It really is. It's getting similar scores and similar gaming performance, as you'll see later on. Ebooks and PDF files. So this is a large PDF file that I do always test out. I think it's around about 50 megabytes or so. A lot of detail, a lot of pages, and it's very quick on this, no problems, and looks great on the large screen. Now, the bezels here are looking a little bit worse than what they really are. So if I zoom in, you can see now that's the normal bezel size there. So the text looks sharp, it looks great, and the performance when just scrolling ahead there, very, very quick, but it still won't beat an iPad and iPad Pro, and even the older generation iPads still seem to be the champions at just raw PDF file performance. Now, once I get out of this, I'll just show you an ebook too as well. Absolutely no problems with them. It looks great, and of course you can flip the screen around and hold it and use it then in portrait mode, but I would use the stand for this because it is a heavy tablet. It's about 900 grams, as I mentioned. It's not exactly light, and they look great. You can zoom in. You can invert the colors here so you can make the text white, the background black. You can put on the blue light filter, dark mode, and all of that too, of course. Now onto the gaming performance here. So this is PUBG, and we do get up to Ultra HD, but we take a hit in the frame rate, it then drops down to Ultra, which is 45 frames per second, I believe. And if you stick it on there and just do HD, which is what I will be testing out, we get Extreme, which is the 60 frames per second, I think it is. And that matches the 60 Hertz that this panel has. So let's take a look at just how PUBG performs here. Now, as expected, stating the obvious here that no problems at all. This is 60 frames per second, constantly runs well, and looking down the sides, there's going to be no lag at all with this game. So very light title, really. This is not demanding, at least not on this setting. So I'll move over now to Android's most demanding game, and probably iOS's as well, which is Genshin Impact, and let's see how it handles it. Now I have the title here set on the highest possible visual settings at 60 frames per second, and in the performance is very, very good. It's running really about the same as what I would get out of a Snapdragon 888 here, or Dimensity 1200 even has similar performance to this from what I've seen. So very, very good. Now, does it get warm? Does it run into any thermal throttling or problems? So just around in this area on the other side, let's get a little warm, but because it's a very large tablet, it doesn't suffer from those throttling issues that you would get with a small phone with the same chipset, or the Snapdragon 888s are actually worse when it comes to thermals. This one's not bad at all, so I've just got a couple of enemies here. Let's jump into a quick fight with them. Being so large, it's a little uncomfortable. I would actually prefer to game on a slightly smaller size. But still, performance really, really good here from the YogaPad Pro. Now here's a sample from the front 8 megapixel camera. There is in fact no rear cameras on this, and I don't think anyone's going to be really missing that with the tablet. The quality for an 8 megapixel one, you can shoot 1080p video max here. You do have portrait mode with it. I don't think it's bad. I think this is a good front-facing camera that they've used in here. Lenovo, and excellent audio quality out of those microphones. By far my favorite feature of this particular tablet is the fact that it supports display input, which we don't see with any other tablets really at all, and I wish more manufacturers would do this. So here you can see with my Windows 10 mini PC I've got it hooked up to, maximum resolution is the 2160 by 1350, 16 by 10 aspect ratio, and with the maximum 410 nits of brightness, it does actually look pretty good indoors. I've got the screen brightness turned right down. So tapping on the screen, now I can set and control the brightness levels. You can see how much I've turned that right down. It's a very bright screen here, and tapping again, I'm able to adjust the aspect ratio from 16 by 10 to 16 by 9. I put it back on 16 by 10. And then the audio too, we get the on-screen display for our audio controls when I'm adjusting that. Now it remembers the setting that I had before when I previously used that, so that is great. And as soon as you plug in an external device for the input here for the display, it then swaps over to it. So very handy feature to have. Okay, so we really do have another winner here from Lenovo. I really like the large screen, the experience of using it, especially for media consumption, watching Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Disney Plus, YouTube, and just other movies and whatnot is really good on this with those speakers. And we do have the Widevine Level 1 cert. It's a global ROM, and Amazon Prime Video is in full HD, which is really good to see because a lot of devices, even though they have that Widevine Level 1 cert, are still stuck in standard definition, which, well, it kind of looks terrible, especially at 13 inches, it would. So that's great there. Performance, excellent. Very fast chip. Snapdragon 870 makes this so far the fastest tablet with the 8 gigabytes of RAM that I've reviewed here in the channel. We've also got the Lenovo P11 Pro, or the Xiaoxin Pad Pro 2021 model that I've reviewed, which has the same chipset but just 6 gigabytes of RAM. Now the display input on this is a very handy feature to have, that if you intend to have this as a tablet, but you'd also like to connect it up to, say, a Nintendo Switch or your laptop on the go, you can do that, and it's useful. It's got a sharp resolution. It is still a good looking screen to be able to use like that. And then you've got the Type-C USB 3.1 with display out support as well. So it clones the display. You can connect it up then to a larger TV if you wanted to do so. So battery time and runtime on this very good, 12 to 13 and even possibly maybe 13 and a half hours. you can get out of this, which is really good because it's got a large battery. So all up, the build is good, even though it's got a plastic. The metal frame is great. The different things you can do with it, you can even use it to hook it up like this. The screen, of course, flips around. Then you can stand it up like so if you wanted to do like that, or have it sitting up. So it is useful, it's versatile, and really it comes down to only a few things I don't like about this particular tablet. I'm sad to see no micro SD card support. That would have been brilliant on this. No 3.5mm headphone jack, and then no LTE or GPS support, which would have been great again, or even 5G support if they could have added this to it. I think then, with those things, that would have been really the perfect large Android 11 tablet. Now with Lenovo, there's another thing too to point out. They're not known really for major Android updates. I've just had a patch come through, but I really doubt this is going to see Android 12 ever. You'd probably have to get a newer model to get Android 12 because the previous gen model is still on Android 10. The same goes with the P11 Pro series. So thank you so much for watching my review here of the Lenovo Yoga Pad Pro 2021 model.